Bullied kid vanished for 3 months, returned and broke jaws. The school bell rang with its usual harsh clang, sending students scrambling from their seats in a desperate rush toward the cafeteria. Among the chaos, a group of weaker students found themselves being pushed and shoved by their classmates, all racing to secure food, not for themselves, but for the school's most feared bullies. At the center of this cruel hierarchy stood Marcus Chen and his right-hand man, Derek Liu, 2 seniors who had turned intimidation into an art form. Marcus had built his reputation on making others do his bidding, and one of his favorite games involved forcing the more timid students to compete in food-fetching races. These unfortunate souls would sprint to the cafeteria, purchase specific meals with their own money, and race back to see who could complete the task fastest. The winner would receive temporary protection from harassment, while the losers faced additional humiliation and often physical punishment. Today's race ended with Alex Park, a quiet sophomore with nervous eyes and perpetually hunched shoulders, returning first with Marcus's favorite spicy chicken sandwich. The victory should have brought relief, but instead it ignited Derek's temper. Having bet against Alex, Derek's loss meant he needed to take out his frustration on someone else. His target became Tommy Nguyen, a gentle boy who had finished last in the race. After school, Tommy walked home alongside Alex, both boys nursing fresh bruises and wounded pride. Tommy clutched his phone, watching underground fighting videos with the desperate intensity of someone searching for salvation. "I wish I could be strong like them," he whispered to Alex, his voice barely audible above the city traffic. "If I could fight like that, maybe they'd leave us alone." Alex nodded sympathetically, though he knew the truth that Tommy hadn't yet accepted. Watching fights through a screen wouldn't transform them into warriors. Real strength required dedication, training, and sacrifice. Still, he understood Tommy's desperation. They all felt it, that crushing weight of powerlessness that followed them from classroom to hallway to home. The next morning brought another summons from Marcus. Alex found himself reluctantly agreeing to meet the bully over the weekend, knowing that refusing would only make his situation worse. Marcus's influence extended far beyond the school grounds, and crossing him meant facing consequences that could follow Alex home. When the weekend arrived, Marcus gathered his collection of intimidated students in an abandoned lot behind the school. The announcement he made sent chills through the group. They would be participating in a month-long fighting tournament, pitting friend against friend in brutal matches, while Marcus and his crew placed bets on the outcomes. "You'll fight each other," Marcus declared with a cruel smile, "and we'll see who among you pathetic weaklings has any real fight in them. The tournament starts next weekend, and everyone participates. No exceptions." The gathered students exchanged terrified glances. Fighting strangers was one thing, but being forced to hurt their friends, the only people who understood their suffering, felt like the ultimate betrayal of their shared misery. Meanwhile, across the school courtyard, a girl named Sarah Kim faced her own battles. A recent transfer student, she had hoped to escape the bullying that had plagued her at her previous school. Unfortunately, the rumors had followed her, and now she found herself targeted by Marcus's female accomplices, a group of senior girls who took pleasure in psychological torment. Alex noticed Sarah's situation from afar, and something stirred within him, a protective instinct he didn't know he possessed. Her quiet dignity in the face of harassment reminded him of his own struggles, but where he had learned to cower, she maintained a mysterious inner strength that intrigued him. His attempts to approach Sarah at school met with polite but firm rejection. She seemed to have built walls around herself, perhaps learned from experience that getting close to others only led to more pain. Still, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that beneath her guarded exterior lay someone worth knowing. That night, Alex made a decision that would change everything. Instead of accepting his fate as Marcus's victim, he would train. He began by copying moves from professional fighters he found online, practicing in his bedroom with the desperate intensity of someone fighting for his life. Unknown to him, his younger sister Emma watched from the doorway, puzzled by her brother's sudden interest in combat sports. The following school day brought another encounter with Marcus, but this time the bully's message carried additional weight. "I've placed a significant bet on you winning this tournament," Marcus said, his voice carrying the implicit threat that always accompanied his words. "If you win, I'll protect you from now on. If you lose..." He let the threat hang in the air, but his meaning was crystal clear. That evening, Marcus demanded a preview of Alex's fighting abilities. In the same abandoned lot where the tournament announcement had been made, Marcus ordered Alex to fight Tommy. The request felt like a knife through Alex's heart. Tommy was his friend, someone who understood his pain. Unable to bring himself to hurt his fellow victim, Alex chose to run instead. The next day brought swift punishment. Marcus's retaliation was both physical and psychological, designed to ensure Alex understood that escape was not an option. But as Alex nursed his injuries at home, his father mentioned that his Uncle Kevin had stopped by earlier. The mention of Uncle Kevin sparked a memory. Kevin had always been different from the rest of the family, stronger, more confident, and rumored to have connections to the underground fighting world. Alex had heard whispers about Kevin's past involvement in martial arts, though the details had always been kept from him. Racing to Kevin's apartment across town, Alex found his uncle surprised, but not entirely shocked by his nephew's appearance. Kevin's weathered face and calloused hands told stories of countless battles, and when Alex explained his situation, Kevin's expression grew serious. "You want to learn to fight," Kevin said, not asking but stating a fact. "Real fighting isn't like what you see in movies or online videos. It's about discipline, respect, and knowing when to use your skills." Kevin led Alex to a converted warehouse that served as a training facility. The space was filled with heavy bags, training mats, and the sound of bodies in motion. There, Alex met Coach Rivera, a former professional fighter whose scarred face and intense eyes spoke of years spent in the ring. "Your uncle tells me you need to learn to defend yourself," Rivera said, studying Alex with the practiced gaze of someone who had trained countless fighters. "I can teach you, but you need to understand, this isn't about becoming a bully yourself. It's about finding your inner strength." The training began immediately. Rivera pushed Alex harder than he had ever been pushed before, focusing not just on physical techniques, but on mental fortitude. Every punch, every defensive move, every grappling technique was practiced until it became second nature. When the tournament's first round arrived, Alex faced his first opponent, a larger student named Brian, who had been favored by the betting students. But Alex was no longer the same frightened boy who had cowered in school hallways. His training had transformed not just his body, but his confidence. The fight was intense. Brian's size advantage became apparent immediately, but Alex's newfound skills and determination proved decisive. Using a combination technique Rivera had taught him, Alex delivered a powerful strike that ended the match decisively. The watching students fell silent, stunned by the transformation they had witnessed. After the match, Brian approached Alex in the school hallway. Instead of resentment, Brian expressed admiration for Alex's improvement and encouraged him to continue fighting. It was the first time Alex had received genuine respect from a classmate, and the feeling was intoxicating. Training continued at Kevin's facility, but Alex's sister Emma had grown curious about her brother's mysterious absences. She began following him one day, though she lost track of him in the busy city streets. When Alex returned home with fresh bruises and calloused hands, Emma confronted him directly. "You're fighting, aren't you?" she asked, her voice filled with concern rather than accusation. Alex initially tried to deflect her questions, but Emma's persistence and genuine worry eventually broke through his defenses. He asked her to trust him and not interfere, though he couldn't bring himself to explain the full situation. The tournament continued with matches held under a railway bridge after school. Tommy, despite his lack of formal training, managed to defeat his first opponent through sheer determination and surprising resilience. The victory shocked the betting students who had written him off as an easy loss. Alex congratulated his friend enthusiastically, even sharing some of his own winnings from betting on Tommy's success. For the first time in months, both boys felt something resembling hope. As the tournament progressed, Alex continued advancing through the brackets. His confidence grew with each victory, and he began to believe that freedom from Marcus's tyranny might actually be possible. The other student fighters also seemed to be finding their own strength, inspired by Alex's example. Rivera continued refining Alex's techniques, teaching him advanced submissions and defensive maneuvers. One evening, Kevin invited Alex, Rivera, and some other gym members to dinner to celebrate Alex's progress. The atmosphere was warm and familial, a stark contrast to the tension that dominated Alex's school life. During the dinner, Emma appeared unexpectedly, having tracked down the restaurant. She scolded Alex for drinking with older men, but her anger quickly turned to embarrassment when she realized Kevin was their uncle. After Kevin introduced her properly, Emma joined the celebration, and Alex finally felt comfortable enough to explain his training to his sister. Walking home together after dinner, Alex told Emma about Kevin's facility and his martial arts training. Emma expressed relief, admitting she had feared her brother was involved in dangerous street fights. The conversation brought them closer together, and Alex felt grateful to have his sister's support. The next tournament match proved more challenging, but Alex's diverse training prepared him for anything his opponent could offer. Despite taking several hard hits, he managed to turn the tide and secure another victory. His improvement was so dramatic that Marcus began to suspect Alex was receiving professional training. When confronted about his sudden fighting ability, Alex denied any formal training, but his unconvincing lies only increased Marcus's suspicions. Frustrated by Alex's evasions, Marcus ordered his friends to attack Alex directly. However, his crew refused to risk facing Alex's newfound skills, leading Marcus to punish another student instead. While running errands for Marcus, Alex encountered Sarah again. She noticed his facial bruises from the recent match and offered him a clean handkerchief. The simple gesture of kindness touched Alex deeply, and he felt his feelings for her growing stronger. After school, Alex returned Sarah's handkerchief and asked if she would walk with him. During their conversation, Sarah revealed more about her experiences with bullying and her philosophy of not letting others' actions define her worth. She had heard rumors about Alex's fighting abilities and expressed her support for his tournament success. "Stay safe," she said as her bus arrived. "I believe you can win this." Alex watched her board the bus, feeling a warmth he hadn't experienced in years. Unknown to him, Sarah didn't immediately enter the bus, but instead watched him walk away, her own feelings becoming more complex. The tournament took a darker turn when Tommy faced a much stronger opponent and suffered a severe beating. Alex couldn't bear to watch his friends suffering and demanded that Marcus stop the match. The bully's anger flared at what he perceived as Alex giving him orders, and he reached for a wooden plank, ready to attack. Fortunately, Marcus's girlfriend intervened, reminding him that Alex still had important matches ahead. Not wanting to lose his best fighter, Marcus reluctantly backed down, though his resentment toward Alex continued to grow. That night, Alex met secretly with Tommy and another friend who were also tournament participants. He proposed that they should stop blindly following Marcus's orders and begin organizing resistance. However, their meeting was photographed by one of Marcus's spies, leading to immediate consequences. One of the students from the secret meeting was confronted and beaten by Marcus's group. Under pressure, the student claimed ignorance of any specific plans, but suggested that Alex was the mastermind behind any potential resistance. The next tournament matches became more brutal as Marcus forced the two students who had met with Alex to fight each other. The psychological torture of watching friends hurt each other was designed to break Alex's spirit and demonstrate Marcus's continued control. During one particularly violent match, an exhausted and injured fighter picked up a weapon and seriously wounded his opponent. Alex watched in horror, his anger toward Marcus reaching a boiling point. The bully's sadistic enjoyment of the violence revealed the true depth of his cruelty. Later, Sarah found Alex sitting alone in the school garden, lost in thought and guilt over his friend's suffering. His motivation for training had begun to waver as he questioned whether his actions were ultimately making things worse for everyone around him. Seeking guidance, Alex confided in Kevin about his doubts and fears. Kevin listened patiently before sharing his own experiences with bullying and the importance of standing up for what's right, even when the path is difficult. Rivera also noticed Alex's declining morale and invited him to his home for a personal conversation. There, Rivera revealed his own painful history. He had lost his son to bullying, and his inability to protect his child remained his greatest regret. This revelation helped Alex understand that his fight was about more than just personal freedom. "Don't let fear stop you from protecting others," Rivera said. "Sometimes we fight not because we want to, but because we have to." On his way home from Rivera's house, Alex discovered Emma being harassed by a group of female bullies. Without hesitation, he intervened, using his training to intimidate the attackers without resorting to violence. Emma thanked her brother for protecting her, and they shared a meal together outside a convenience store, strengthening their bond. The incident renewed Alex's determination. The next day, he returned to training with renewed focus, and Rivera taught him advanced submission techniques. Rivera also emphasized the importance of adaptability in real fights, warning Alex not to rely too heavily on rules and structured techniques. At school, Sarah surprised Alex by approaching him in the cafeteria and asking him to spend the weekend with her. The invitation filled Alex with happiness, and he eagerly accepted. Rivera, learning about the date, suggested a perfect location, his seaside villa. Alex asked Emma for fashion advice, and she helped him choose an outfit that would make a good impression. When he met Sarah at the agreed location, he took her to Rivera's villa, where they were warmly welcomed by the coach. The villa became a regular meeting place for Alex and Sarah, and Rivera began treating Alex like the son he had lost. Their relationship deepened beyond simple coach and student, becoming a genuine family bond. As the tournament finals approached, Alex emerged as the champion after defeating all his opponents. His victory should have meant freedom according to Marcus's original promise, but the bully had no intention of honoring their agreement. "You think winning this tournament means anything?" Marcus sneered. "You're still nothing but my servant." Alex's anger finally boiled over. He challenged Marcus to a final fight with clear terms. If Alex won, Marcus would release all the student servants and end the bullying permanently. If Marcus won, Alex would accept whatever punishment the bully chose. The fight between Alex and Marcus began in the same abandoned lot where the tournament had been announced. Initially, Marcus felt confident due to Alex's seemingly sluggish movements, but his confidence evaporated when Alex removed training weights from his legs, revealing his true speed and agility. Using the advanced techniques Rivera had taught him, Alex systematically dismantled Marcus's attacks. The bully's crude fighting style was no match for Alex's disciplined training and superior conditioning. As Marcus fell, badly beaten, Alex felt his anger threatening to overwhelm him. Just as Alex was about to lose control and continue his assault on the defeated Marcus, Rivera arrived and stopped him. The coach's intervention prevented Alex from crossing the line between justice and revenge, maintaining the moral high ground that had motivated his training. After that decisive confrontation, the bullying at school finally ended. Marcus's reign of terror was over, and the atmosphere in the hallways became noticeably lighter. Kevin's martial arts facility gained popularity as many of Alex's former fellow victims joined the training program, seeking to build their own strength and confidence. Alex and Sarah's relationship continued to deepen. They spent many hours together, sometimes at Rivera's villa, sometimes simply walking around the city, talking about their dreams and plans for the future. Sarah's presence in his life provided a sense of normalcy and hope that Alex had thought was lost forever. The story's conclusion came when Sarah's former bullies from her previous school tracked her down, attempting to continue their harassment. They had expected to find the same frightened girl who had transferred schools to escape them. Instead, they encountered a transformed Sarah who faced them with calm confidence. "I didn't transfer because I was weak," she told them with a serene smile. "I transferred because I stood up to bullies like you and made them face consequences. I'm not a victim, I'm someone who fights back." The bullies fell silent, intimidated by Sarah's unexpected strength and self-assurance. As she walked away, her smile carried a sharp edge that warned them against ever bothering her again. Alex watched from a distance, feeling proud of both Sarah's courage and his own growth. He had learned that real strength came not from muscles or fighting techniques, but from the courage to stand up for what was right, even when it was difficult. The experience had taught him that bullies only had power over those who accepted their authority. By refusing to remain victims, by training their bodies and minds, and by supporting each other, even the weakest could become strong enough to change their circumstances. Rivera's lessons had extended far beyond martial arts. He had taught Alex about discipline, respect, and the responsibility that came with power. Kevin had shown him that family meant more than blood relations. It meant supporting each other through difficult times. Most importantly, Alex had learned that fighting was sometimes necessary, but it was never the preferred solution. The real victory wasn't in defeating Marcus physically, but in breaking the cycle of intimidation and fear that had controlled so many lives. As Alex walked home that evening, he reflected on how much had changed since those early days of cowering in school hallways. He was no longer the frightened boy who ran errands for bullies. He had become someone who could protect others, someone who chose to use his strength responsibly. The transformation had been complete, not just in his body, but in his spirit. He had learned that the greatest victory wasn't winning fights, but building the courage to stand up for what was right, even when the odds seemed impossible. The underdog had become the protector, and in doing so, had discovered that true strength was not about dominating others, but about lifting them up.